All right, so just past the halfway point here in our pro stock action. As Robbie Lemke settles down in the seat, he gets ready to go.
Oh, good strong run. Good strong run for the new Generation Plus. If you look on the replay, that weight box makes its way up the frame and tops out on them about the 250-foot mark.
Yeah, you can tell when it tops out as it'll bump the competitor in the seat. You'll see here as the ARP box comes up the rails.
Boom, right there is where it tops out at. As the box comes up and the pan drops, gets them stopped at 338 feet, 0.85. 338 and 85, which I believe will put him in the number 4 spot. 338 feet, 0.85 for Robbie Lemke and the new Generation Plus. Next up, we'll be looking for Jay Miller from right here in Iowa, Lamont, Iowa, and a Cruisin's Mule on our 10,000-pound pro stock class. As we look at our Lucas Oil leaderboard, as we mentioned, the River Rat with that special pass. You know, we didn't think that Wayne Sullivan's special pass was going to be able to get beat, but the MAV TV knocked him off the top.
Yeah, we'll see down towards the bottom of the field here if anybody can top that distance of 369 and 62 here for Kevin Masterson. Of course, the Cruisin' Mule name synonymous here with Eastern Iowa, as Jay's dad, Bill, for many, many years ran the Red Mule and the Cruisin' Mule tractors.
That was a good shot of our drone that we unveiled for the first time at the Wheatland Speedway, at the Lucas Oil Speedway in Wheatland, Missouri last year. Yeah, when we talked about some strong running tractors left in this class, of course, there's another Masterson tractor down there at the bottom, multiple-time points champion. In fact, the defending points champion, Don Masterson's tractor that Darrell Foles will be driving tonight, the Tinker Toy.
Yeah, and Darrell's taken wins before, so definitely knows how to get the job done. As we see...
taking a look at the inside of the sled there, the Iron Man sled. That is the sled that's over here on our grandstand side. For those watching at home, we had just started our Optima Batteries super modified 2-wheel drive truck class. Total of 3 hooks so far. Our very first hook was Michael White, Addiction, Lafayette, Tennessee. Well, he exercised his option. Well, then we made the determination to reset the sled. So when we reset the sled, Corn Burner, Jason Sullivan,
who's our option holder.
And he exercised his option and dropped to the bottom. And so then Simon Says Dodge, RJ Simon, pulled. And we set the distance at 313.84. So they're having a powwow down there right now with our 2-wheel drive pullers.
Yeah, meeting going on here with our competition director. We see John down there, as well as event coordinator Christy Asher down there as well. So try to sort out what exactly is going on.
And meanwhile, on our infield side, on our pro stock sled, the Cruisin' Mule, Jay Miller, Lamont, Iowa, coming out to the track. $14.66.
Yeah, good to see Jay back out on the national tour for many, many years, up and down the roads with his dad, Bill.
Currently got a green one sitting at the top of the class with Kevin Masterson, the River Rat. All right, Red fans, who thinks that the right here from the Hawkeye State, from Lamont, Iowa, Jay Miller can take over that top spot? .369 feet, the distance to beat. Right there for the Cruisin' Mule, as you see Bill Miller's name still there on the side of the tractor, driven by Jay Miller.
Yeah, real nice pass there for the Cruisin' Mule number 2.
And the Cruisin' Mule goes 322.39, 322.39. Let's go back downstairs to Leslie Mears.
So, John, you've been searching the rule book to try to figure out how you're going to kind of clear things up here. So what was the decision for the two-wheel drive class?
So unfortunately, you know that the sled has had a little technical difficulty. We've ran 3 trucks so far. In the rule book, it states if there is a contest malfunction is what we have, and that could have been a rain out or any of the other issues that could have happened. Those 3 pullers that have went down the track, Addiction, Corn Burner, and Simon Says Dodge, they have a couple of options. They can either take their original position, or they could drop 5 like they were a test puller, or they could go to the bottom of the field. I believe Addiction and Corn Burner are going to go to the bottom. Simon Says Dodge says, I'm going to run it as a test puller. So we're going to go right back down the order like that. It's a tough call for those guys that have went down the track, and we're going to have to switch tracks possibly. We're switching sleds. You don't want those 2 guys that are test pullers to waste a pass because we don't know where we're at, and it's the best deal that we have right now.
So making the best of a bad situation.
All right, so it looks like we're going to go over to the Pro Stock, the infield track here when we're all said and done.
So look,
with our 2-wheel drives, restart the class.
Run our Pro Stocks as is over here on the infield side, and upon completion of that class, move our Optima batteries, Super 2-wheel drive trucks over there to the infield side. So we will still get 2 hooks in this weekend for our 2-wheel drive trucks. All right, Roland Stone, Tim Stone out of Greensburg, Indiana. Due up next on our Pro Stock sled. Kevin Masterson continues to lead 369 and 62. And you can see there in the background, Lisa Tatum's Full Throttle truck and also Jason Sullivan's Corn Burner. He already made 1 pass down the track. So once we restart the class, we'll drop to the bottom. Great shot there of our end zone camera, if we want to call it that. The track on the left side of your viewing, that's where we were running our 2-wheel drive, where we're having these sled issues. The track there on the right-hand side, as you can see, Timmerman Showtime, and then also the Rhino Ag After Midnight that, of course, was driven years and years by John Mumal. Now piloted by his daughter, Misty Mumal Nelson. Although Misty will not be driving it tonight, Bethany Nelson, sister-in-law, will be driving it. All right, beautiful 4620 out of Greensburg, Indiana. It's going to be spotted into the sled there, you can see, by Kevin Masterson.
Well, you can't get anybody better than that, helping you back into the sled here.
Absolutely
now, we did see the Rolling Stone down at Benson, North Carolina. He was another one that ran in the combo class down there with the Lucas Oil East Coast Series.
Wasn't exactly square with the sled, so he's going to pull up and give it another shot. And the River Rat, Kevin Masterson, currently has a 23-foot lead on the second place tractor. Number one tractor, 369. Number two tractor, 346. Of course, that's Denny Brown, Green with Envy. All right, here it comes. The Rolling Stone, Tim Stone of Greensburg, Indiana.
All right, so the John Deere 4620 and Tim Stone going to be right there in the mix, right around the 320-foot mark.
And Tim Stone lays down a pass of 313 feet, 0.67, 3, 1, 3, and 67 for the 4620 out of Greensburg, Indiana. Currently number 10, puts him in the top 10. Rob Russell, Workhorse Pro, Prescott, Iowa. Will be up next. Followed by Mickey Shorter, Sullivan, Indiana.
Yeah, just a handful of pullers left to go here in our pro stock class.
And Leslie Mayer standing by trackside with the driver of the Midnight Gambler, Jeremy.
So here you go, Jeremy Nelson. You really weren't supposed to be here. I know that you and Missy were excited to be at the Illinois State Track Championships today. So talk a little bit about what you were doing up there today.
Well, our daughter Kayla ran state track meet today in Charleston, so we made arrangements for Lance Little to bring the rig, and Jared and Bethany was going to drive them, and we was just going to come, be here after the pull tonight. But things went well, and we got here in time. But we're still going to watch them go down the track because they was already weighed in and staged. So they're in the suits, so they're going to get to drive them. So we're going to get to watch our trucks go down the track, which that'll be different.
Very different for you. And, this is definitely a unique situation. So what are some of your thoughts on the ruling here and about what's going to happen with switching sleds and tracks and changing up the position in the order?
Well, seeing as how we didn't run anything yet, I guess it's really no skin off our backs, but we'll just have to read the other track now. We've been kind of scoping out the other one. Jared and Bethany been looking at it all night, but now we're going to switch tracks. So I guess we'll turn our focus to the other track.
Yeah, and that's something that's very, very different because, you watch a track in the afternoon when it gets built. You watch it all night with the other classes that run. And now you've got to go over there where the big tires, those pro stocks, have really been abusing that starting line.
Yeah, and sometimes what works on the pro stocks don't work on a two-wheel drive. So we really won't know a whole lot till the first truck goes down the track.
Yeah, guys, it's really a waiting game here to see what happens.
And the Nelson family is full of athletes. Yesterday, Thursday, Jared and Bethany's daughter competed in that same Illinois High School Association state track meet, and she, as a freshman, was a state champion in her event. So she competes at the smaller school size, and then Jeremy and Misty's daughter Kayla with the bigger schools, and their state finals was today on Friday. So a lot of athletes there in the Nelson family. All right, the Workhorse Pro, Rob Russell, Prescott, Iowa, backing into the sled. Nice candy apple?
Candy apple, yeah, beautiful candy apple, MX 225 tractor. Of course, Rob Russell, former national champion in diesel super stock competition, actually back before the tractors were split, when they used to run the diesel tractors, the alcohol tractors together, like we had here tonight.
I think Kevin Masterson is the designated spotter backing in on the tractors tonight.
Well, like I say, you can't find a better guy to do it.
Absolutely. Kevin currently sits at the top of the class, the River Rat, 369 and 62.
Of course, Rob Russell did everything there was to do in super stock pulling, kind of got away from the sport, and came back. Always said I wanted to run a pro stock tractor, and that's exactly what he's done here the last few years.
All right, from Prescott, Iowa, the workhorse pro, Rob Russell. Oh, it's awful close down to that leader pylon. We said it was going to take a special pass to knock Kevin Masterson off that top spot. Needed to go 369 and change.
I think we saw a special pass right there as Rob looks over and checks that lead distance cone out there. Yeah, right there, the tractor kind of did a little bit of a hop.
And that little bit of hop may have cost him, because 368 and 58, 368 feet, 0.58, right behind Kevin Masterson. So he moves into the number 2 spot, 368 feet, 0.58 for Rob Russell and the workhorse pro out of Prescott, Iowa, taking over that number 2 spot and bumping Denny Brown, green with Envy, down a spot to the number 3. That's as close as you can get to getting out of bounds without being DQ'd. He scraped that line with the sled with the mud flap there on the sled, but the tractor stayed in bounds. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, it doesn't matter, right? Doesn't matter if the sled goes out, as long as the pulling vehicle stays in bounds. As you can see, the beautiful clay surface down there on our double tracks.
Next up, we're looking for Mickey Shorter, the Buck Eater 2 out of Sullivan, Indiana. Let's see where Mickey sets the pylon, or someone from Mickey's team sets that pylon to see where the sled will come back to.
Yeah, looks like in a favor over on the left side one more time.
So number 1 and number 2 is separated by right at a foot. Right at a foot. Kevin Masterson, 369.62. Rob Russell, 368.58. That's how close it is. Mickey, longtime puller, used to pull red. Used to pull a V8 International 1468 back in the day. 1468.
Yeah, remember the year that Mickey went down and purchased the first Buck Eater from the Nepper family down in Louisville. That was going back, I would say, early 2000s now. Of course, Mickey got a championship back in 2015. It's amazing how fast the years add up as these pullers go down the track, and before you know it, they've got 20, 30 years behind the wheel of a tractor.
Yeah, how many times have we already seen tonight? Multiple generation pullers.
Yeah, we're seeing the 3rd, 4th generation pullers now, and didn't seem like that long ago. We had just 2nd, 3rd generations.
Mickey's got her fired back up. believe Austin Boyd spotting him into the sled. Our Lucas Oil track officials for tonight. Jerry Nelson's been handling the finish line on both tracks. And over here on the grandstand side, we had Kurt Simmons. And on the infield side, Lester Shaw as our PPL track officials this evening. All right, he rolls the chain tight. The green light on the sled. Green flag from our officials. From Sullivan, Indiana, the Buck Eater number 2, Mickey Shorter. Respectable pass right there for Mickey.
Yeah, for sure. He'll be satisfied with that one as we see the water coming out from the intercooler up front. He'll start with that whole front end full of ice, and by the end of a 300-foot pass, you see just the water already starting to come out. They get them warm, that's for sure.
And Mickey's pass 331.09, 331 feet, .09. Well, earlier in the class, we were supposed to see Peter Norton, money on black. He's dropped to the bottom. He's currently standing trackside with our Leslie Mears.
So, Peter, what happened that you had to drop to the last hook of the night here?
We had an ignition problem. I think we've gotten taken care of, so we're going to try again here in a minute. Hope it works out.
So you've been watching, and there seems to be a hole here in the middle of the track. And so, you know, kind of which side of the track are you leaning towards now?
Oh, I think we'll probably lean towards the left a little bit, but it's be a kind of a decision to get closer to time here.
Leslie Mears putting him on the spot right there, maybe revealing some secrets that his competitors can pick up on.
Well, if it works.
That's right.
All right, looks like we've got our AGCO ready to go here is Brian Schrammick.
And I think it's fair to say when they revealed this tractor last year, it blew up the internet. I think the first time we saw this tractor was at right before our Lucas Oil event in Lyons, Indiana at the Shy Diesel Extravaganza. I think that was our first look at the Youngblood Pro Stock. Beautiful AGCO out of Williamsburg, Missouri. Speaking of the Shy Diesel Extravaganza, got a new home. Last year was the first time for our new home for years and years. We held it there at the Wabash Valley Fairgrounds in Terre Haute, Indiana. So last year was the first year we moved it to the Wagler Motorsports Park in Lyons, Indiana, and that's where we will be again this year. The last Friday and Saturday in August. If you like diesel smoke from tractors and trucks, that's the place to be. No alky burners there that weekend. All diesel all the time.
No noise.
That's right. You can leave your earmuffs at home for that one. All right, Brian Schrammick, Youngblood. He'll be followed by the Tinker Toy, Don Masterson's Tinker Toy, driven by Daryl Foles, Grandview, Indiana. And then we will see Don Brinkmeyer from Warren, Illinois with Fuelish Pleasure. And then Peter Norton, Money on Black, will wrap up the class. As Peter mentioned to our pit reporter, Leslie Mears had some ignition issues.
Yeah, once again, going to spot it way over on the left-hand side here for Dennis or Brian Schrammick. We see Dad Dennis out front backing him up here. Another multi-generation team here. Of course, Brian himself, he's a 5-time champion in diesel super stock competition before they went ahead and built the pro stock tractor. Well, if you like orange, this is for you right here.
Absolutely. It's not the traditional AGCO orange. Beautiful paint job on this AGCO Youngblood out of Williamsburg, Missouri. $369. That's where the leader pylon is. $369 and $62. Placed there by Kevin Masterson in the river wrap. All right, get the final instructions in the fist bump.
Yeah, I think that's going to be Braden doing the driving here. I think that was Brian sitting trackside. The AGCO DT 275.
Braden Schrammick, Williamsburg, Missouri. The Youngblood. Yes, indeed. That was Braden Schrammick behind the wheel on the Youngblood AGCO out of Williamsburg, Missouri.
We talk about another third generation puller there as Braden just recently married, actually, the last couple weeks. So congratulations to him.
.306 and 12, 306 feet, .12 for Braden Schrammick and the Youngblood out of Williamsburg, Missouri. And then there were three. Tinker Toy, Daryl Foles, Fuelish Pleasure, Don Brinkmeyer, and then we'll wrap up the class with Peter Norton, Money on Black. And then we will move our Optima Batteries super modified two-wheel drive trucks over to the infield side and totally restart that class.
Well, we know RJ's going to start the class off with the Simon Says Dodge. The other two trucks, Michael White and Jason Sullivan, going to drop down to the bottom.
Leslie Mears has an update on the what's going on down trackside. Let's kick it down to Leslie.
So the starting line is getting a little chewed up with these big tires from our Pro Stock tractors. And so you can see it as the sled is rolling back, it's just a little bit spongy out here. And so there's a divot that's going to roll through. And that's where those tires would sit. Now, this is the farthest left that we've seen any tractor put the sled over here, but the ground is really pumping, and that's because there's a lot of moisture in there. It's coming up. The more that you pound the tires into the ground, the more moisture is going to come up, and so you're going to have that being a little bit soft. So that's going to make the whole shot for these Pro Stocks a little bit more difficult because they're going to put so many RPMs to the ground right away when they leave the line.
And if someone can do it, it's going to be this next tractor coming up, the Tinker Toy, multiple-time champion. It's actually our defending points champion. Last year, driven by both Daryl Foles and Kevin Masterson to the points championship. How many times have you seen this tractor win at Louisville, Dan?
Numerous times. As we've seen Don Masterson go down the track and always has that sweet spot. He puts the tractor in. Of course, Kevin, he's putting them right on the left-hand chalk line here. He's seen something out there that nobody has so far. So going to put his hired gun over here on the left-hand sideline, as Leslie said, as far over as anybody has gone so far in this class.
Looking for the advantage on that hole shot. A name that is synonymous with pro stock pulling. If you mention the Tinker Toy, everybody knows Don Masterson, Masterson Farms, Grandview, Indiana.
I think there's some butterflies in the seat tonight.
Yeah, we got one Masterson sitting on top right now. Kevin Masterson, the River Rat, leads the class at 369 and 62. I would say the first 25 to 50 feet is going to tell the tale on how the rest of this run happens.
Well, 369.62. That's where the boss sits right now.
Good shot there of Lester Shaw, our track official. Green light on the sled, green flag from our track officials. Here comes the Tinker Toy, Daryl Foles, driving the Masterson Farms John Deere out of Grandview, Indiana. 369 and 62, the distance to beat. Not going to do the job tonight. Not going to get her done. It'll be interesting to see where Don Brinkmeyer and also Peter Norton spot that sled on the way back.
Yeah, a lot of RPM in the Tinker Toy tonight, but just not able to get it to lock into the track here. As you saw that up and down motion as it's made its way down the track here. And the end result takes distance away from you.
And Daryl Foles lays down a pass of 321 and 65, 321 feet, 0.65 for the Masterson Farms Tinker Toy, driven by Daryl Foles from Grandview, Indiana, 321 and 65. All right, so two left. Foolish Pleasure, Don Brinkmeyer, Warren, Illinois. And then we will wrap up our pro stock class. Peter Norton, Franklin, Indiana, with Money on Black. Then we will bring our Optima battery super modified two-wheel drive trucks over to the infield side. 22 of those here tonight. We are past the midnight hour here in the Central Time Zone, so 22 of those here this morning, I should say.
This morning, yeah. The Hardy fans still sitting in, watching the action.
We want to thank the fans for hanging in with us here, both at the 300 Raceway and also on MAV TV Plus. I'm Leroy Schluter along with Dan Mayer. We will do this all again on Saturday night, 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. Eastern. Same six classes. We may not pull them on the same track or the same order that we did this evening. And as you can see, the Ironman sled slowly making its way off the track.
I would say by Jared Nelson being out on the track right there, I think they're just going to move the sled over and run that track over here on the grandstand side. Remember, we had a report that possibly they might move everything to the infield, but.
Right, and then also with Leslie Mears doing a report that the starting line getting awful spongy right there. Might be a good idea just to move that sled over onto the grandstand side. So Fieldish Pleasure, Don Brinkmeyer pulls a lot with the Lucas Oil Badger State Polar Division. Comes to us from Warren, Illinois.
Of course, Dad Gary synonymous with pro stock action going back to the earliest days. This class started back in the early 80s. Case International MX 255. Well, our last red one. This will be the last shot for him. Two left to go here. Once again, 369.62. We've come close.
All right, from Warren, Illinois, Don Brinkmeyer, Fieldish Pleasure. And Kevin Masterson has dodged another bullet with one to go. Taking a look at the replay here for the Fieldish Pleasure out of Warren, Illinois, Don Brinkmeyer. Now he spotted a sled over on the right-hand side and moved toward the middle of the track to see if that would work. That takes him to 309.39, 309 feet, 0.39, the distance for Don Brinkmeyer. Well, we do know a green one's going to win. Is it going to be the green one of Kevin Masterson, the River Rat, or is it going to be Money on Black? Peter Norton, Franklin, Indiana, our final competitor in our 10,000-pound pro stock class.
Well, he said he had some ignition issues with the tractor. Hopefully he's got those sorted out.
Let's look at the end of the track camera there to see where the sled's coming back. He might spot it as far on the right-hand side as possible.
Kind of going to go back up to the middle here.
Oh, we've had 16 in the class. We've seen 15 of them, 15 down, one to go. The whole Masterson pulling team there. Watching, waiting. Didn't see Kevin in the mix there, though.
No, he's down there spotting tractors.
Yeah.
He's been backing them up here all class long. Well, we see Peter Norton's got the tractor running down there.
Yeah, it's running. We see the smoke coming from the infield, so. So our final competitor coming out onto the track as we wrap up our pro stocks. Once again, we are in Farley, Iowa. You're watching the Lucas Oil Pro Pulling League action on MAV TV Plus. This is night number 1 of the Line-X 300 Raceway Farley Nationals, presented by General Tire.
Now, this was the tractor that was in that shootout with Kevin Masterson last year, as it came down to the final event at the Pro Pulling Nationals at Wheatland, Missouri. Peter had a couple victories on the summer. Moved up from the Super Farm ranks a couple years back.
All right, let's see if we save the best for last. If he wants to win, 369 and 62. That's the magic number. Courtesy of the River Rat, Kevin Masterson.
Well, no doubt this tractor definitely capable of getting the job done.
Building the boost, building the RPMs. Money on black, Peter Norton. Well, we finished the 2020 season with a Masterson win. We're starting the 2021 season with a Masterson win, just a different tractor, the River Rat.
All right, as we see here on the replay, as Peter Norton takes off with the Money on Black tractor. Well, then he drove it up to the more or less the left-hand side of the track.
And we get him stopped at 324 and 93, 324 feet, 0.93. 324 and 93 for Money on Black Peter Norton out of Franklin, Indiana. So congratulations, Kevin Masterson. The River Rat, Grandview, Indiana, takes home the win number 1 on the stop number 1 for our 2021 Pro Stocks this year.